I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring an important book. It is called Relentless Hearts in Progress, A Spiritual Journey. It is written by an amazing author. His name is Reverend Dr. Robert Alonso Sosa, Ph.D. This insightful book offers a path to personal and spiritual development in a world rife with division, advocating for acceptance, tolerance, and deep empathy. Today, we're going to dive into how making conscious choices can transform our character and deepen our faith. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Inks and Bindings for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his important book. The links are below this interview. Reverend, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Crawford. I deeply appreciate it.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine, Reverend. Tell me, your title's very provocative, Relentless Hearts in Progress. Tell us what that means.
Relentless Hearts in Progress is basically is a heart or a person that keeps on working till the end. And when I say the end, till it's time for us to cross over, in order to better themselves and ascend to a plane where basically we feel no biases toward anybody. We can actually live in harmony and in peace with one another. And basically, I would say that would be the main, reason for me writing. This book. I wanted to educate people, and not only that, alert people also that some people tend to distort reality for their own benefit. If you know where I'm coming from,
yeah.
And basically, life is what it is, and you have to make the best choices, and you have to an old Pentecostal friend of mine. I'm Orthodox Christian, but old Pentecostal Baptist friend of mine used to tell me, Robert, you gotta check yourself or you'll wreck yourself. You know what I mean? Which is true. I do. I actually do an auto diagnosis of myself, and I say, wow, have I been constructive today? Was I mean to anybody? Mind you, we're all human beings, and we're all flawed human beings, which is another, one of the other things that the book tells us. But we have to fight to actually become better persons every day. And yes, it's an uphill battle, but that's what we're here for.
Right.
we must. If we want to get along with each other, and we want our planet to survive.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's a matter of conscious choice.
Correct.
That will help us shape our faith, shape our character, shape our world, our existence, our future, our planet, right?
And it starts with one actually admitting, well, you know what? I have these flaws, and let me work on these flaws. And basically, I know that people that I'm going to meet have flaws too, but you know what? I'm not going to be rushed to prejudge them or keep away from them. No, I want to see how we can meet in the middle and basically get along with each other. So, and especially now, the world that we're living in right now.
Well, I think online we're very polarized. I think, when people are on Facebook or on other social media, but I think when people see people face to face in the supermarket or, at church or wherever it might be, I think people are kinder together when they're in person than they are when they're hiding behind a keyboard somewhere, right?
That's totally correct. And another thing is some people actually prejudge a situation or prejudge other people just by listening to a comment or something in conversation. So basically, I always say to a lot of people, listen, if you have the funds, please travel, go around the world.
Yeah.
Because, for example, now that we have all this Israel against Hamas and all this stuff, I have a lot of friends of mine who are Muslims, and they're beautiful people.
Yes.
So yes, all Muslims are not Hamas. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Yes. So basically, that's just one example. And mind you, I'm pro-Israeli because I come from a Sephardic Jewish family.
Right.
Even though I'm Orthodox Christian, so I'm
So
yes,
you're
I got
covering
Jewish.
all the bases there.
Yes, I'm covering all the bases. I mean, yes, I want to let the people know that. I mean, I just made that comment, but I got Jewish blood in me. So,
Right.
but I got so many Muslim friends of mine who are beautiful, and I'm incapable of just saying, "Oh, he's Muslim. He's probably a killer or something like that." No, no, no. This
You
world's
know what I
war.
feel? I feel if you're a good, kind-hearted, devout Muslim, if you're a good, kind-hearted, devout Christian, if you're a good, kind-hearted, devout Hindu, if you're a good, kind-hearted, devout Jew, you're all the same. You all want the best for
Yes.
society, for each other, for your family, and to
Mm-hmm.
do what is right. And you follow the golden rule, right?
Correct. And Mr. Crawford, I'm a vivid reader. I read whatever I can get my hands on.
Hmm.
And mind you, don't quote me on this, but I think it's the book of Sahar, verse 32 of the Quran, that says, if you save one person, it's as if you have saved the world.
Yeah,
Come on, that is a logical and a beautiful statement. And it comes
exactly.
from the Quran, you know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, what is all this deal that uh, that many wars have been fought over our Bible.
Right. Well, that's the thing. If you distort Christianity, it can
Yes,
become bad. If you
yes,
distort Judaism, it can become bad. You can
correct.
distort any religion or
Hmm.
philosophy and make it bad if you take it to an extreme. And I think that's what we're dealing with a lot, today's
Correct.
extremes, which I think that's what's great about your book. You really advocate acceptance and tolerance. What are
Yes.
some of the practical steps that you suggest people take in order to foster these values?
Well, basically, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, Father Bob, you know what? I'm too old to change, or I'm too stubborn to change." No, that doesn't run. That doesn't run with me anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's been proven scientifically that we can rewire our brains and our thoughts and our
Mhm.
behaviors. So basically, in the book, I actually outline a process, which you go to. In other words, it's like a behavioral conditioning, you know what I mean? And it's based, I actually, even though my book, I quote unquote, I would like to say it's a spiritual book, but I do dedicate one chapter to the scientific part of it so that people know that I'm not just inventing things.
Right.
Whereas people can actually rewire their brains to think nice, nice thoughts.
Right.
Mind you, I also go into the book. Remember in the Middle Ages and even before the Middle Ages, that monks used to like whip themselves. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah, yeah.
And
You don't
wear
have to
hair
go.
sweaters when they were done.
Correct. You don't have to go that far. You know what I mean? But there is a process that I actually explain in my book, and it tells you how, whenever a bad thought comes into your mind, how you can actually change your mind at that very second and think of a good thought. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And not have to live with that. It takes time.
Mhm.
It takes work. And but if you have the time to watch a soap opera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you should
Yeah,
have
you've
time
got
to
the time. If you have the time to scroll through TikTok for 40 minutes, you've got time to do something good for somebody else.
yes,
Yeah.
and for yourself too. I mean, to
Yeah.
better yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. What inspired you to write about love and empathy as foundational elements in your book?
Well, I was confessing as an Orthodox Christianity is very similar to Roman Catholicism,
Hmm.
very similar. Not exactly alike, but very similar. And I was confessing a lot of people. I also in church and also in gatherings, I would listen to conversation, and I would hear these these comments that actually I would say to myself, Lord, please don't ever let me think that way. And there's, if I may, with your permission, just real
Sure.
fast, I want to bring an example. I used to work in another life. I was a surgeon, and I gave up surgery so I can go into seminary school and become a clergy.
Hmm.
Anyway, I used to live in. I used to work. I'm sorry. at this hospital in Lower Manhattan in Greenwich Village.
Mm.
And we all know that Greenwich Village is a part of Manhattan where usually a lot of homosexuals, you know what I mean, used to meet and things and they live. Well, one day I'm coming out of the hospital, I'm going over lunch, and another surgeon comes and says, "Hey, Father Bob, can I go with you at lunch?" I said, "Sure, why not? Come over." So as we're walking through the sidewalk, he says to me, "Father Bob, look at those two men holding their hands.
Mm.
Look at those two women kissing each other. Isn't that an abomination to God?" But you see, I knew something about him, which I don't think he knew that I knew. And I turned around and I said, "You hypocrite. You're married. You have 3 boys. You're having an affair with your office manager and an affair with with a nurse in the hospital. You're committing adultery." And for a second, we both freeze. And he said, "Well, Father, you must admit that adultery is not as bad as homosexuality." And I said, "What?" You know what I mean? So in other words, with this example I just gave you means that people look at life and distort reality
Yeah.
just so they can live with themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and basically that happens at all levels, politics. You know, I don't. You know,
One of my favorite sayings is this: above all, to thine own self be true.
correct.
You know, and you really have to be honest with yourself. Don't rationalize. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you're doing something wrong, own up to it. And once you
Yeah.
own up to it that it's wrong, then you're able to take some steps to change it. Tell me a little bit about your ministry.
Ministry, we usually here in Miami, the Orthodox church that I belong to, basically we preach along with other denominational, different denominational Christian churches
Mhm.
to the homeless, addicts, usually addicts, also to the working girls in the streets, you know what I mean,
Mm.
and things like that. So in other words, we go to Liberty City, which is a really bad part of, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, if I can say so, I mean, let's just say it's a hot spot, you know what I mean,
Right.
in Miami and also downtown Miami. You see all these people like basically in the streets, you know what I mean, begging for food or using drugs and everything. So we actually meet and we minister to them, you know what I mean,
Mm.
and we help them, you know what I mean, in whatever ways we can. Food drives, you know what I mean, everything. If there's a hurricane or if it's raining a lot, try to get them shelter, you know, all that. So that's the ministry that that we have. Another part of the ministry is trying to get what I call keeping his words alive. Okay,
Mm.
in quotation, meaning keeping Jesus' words alive. So basically, now that we're in the year 2024 and media is available, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to use media. So yeah, we can actually spread God's words. I mean, so
Wonderful, wonderful. Instead of hearing from Fox News or MSNBC, we can hear from the Word of God. I think that would go a lot farther than the diatribe that's put out there by these people who just want us to click so they can get money. I mean, that's what it's all about. They're baiting us with headlines about Trump, about Biden, about homosexuals, about abortion. So we'll click on it, we'll get enraged, and they'll get their quarter of a penny or whatever it is for every click. And you're
right.
doing God's work, as they say, Reverend, and it sounds like you've got a great ministry there in the Miami area. Reverend Dr. Robert Alonso Sosa has written a powerful book. It's called Relentless Hearts in Progress. It's an insightful book that offers a path to spiritual and personal development in a world that, as we've discussed, is filled with division. Instead, the Reverend advocates for acceptance, tolerance, understanding, and empathy. Reverend, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Thank you for having me on.
I appreciate your time. So folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.